Well, howdy y'all, and welcome to another high-powered episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder from NEC Code, coming to you live from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. I'm joined by my awesome partner in crime, Mr. King James Stallcup, over there in Big Sky Country, Texas. Give him an old hook 'em horns from the Mile High City. And big shout out to the Stallcup Electrical Education, one of your top engagers this week over here, and pretty awesome that you've been getting all your book stuff going, and we just did a podcast on Sunday showing all the new stuff that you've been putting it together, and it just means a lot that that you put this show together, put all this stuff together, help us out with our content, and just means a lot, man. We're just constantly growing, and it's pretty awesome. Uh-oh. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, right. Daniel might have just got the guest link. He might just be coming in live to get old King James a little challenge. So,
well, I'm going to show. We've been from what I was showing Sunday. I'm going to pop up here. I want to show everybody what I was talking about. That I'm basically 5 chapters away from having this done, but this is going to be your new presentation. And as you go through this, you're going to notice you can come in. We've created a table of contents for it. I hadn't linked up everything I've done here for the motors yet, but you can come in here and say, you can just say, I want to look at transformer theory, for instance. You can come down here and look at here. We even have the table of contents to each one of the slides that are in there that you can go in and look at this. So if I wanted to look at a Y-connected transformer and look at how the neutral current flow is connected, looky here. It takes you right to it. For the instructors are going to be out there, we even did the little extra here. We put the figure in here so it all ties in properly. But as you can see, we've taken a lot of time to make everything look as good as we possibly can make it look. So as you get down here further, say we're looking at wanting to deal with motors, for instance, you'll notice that we have taken and put here, let's go down to the next one here. Oh, well, let me go up one here. So when you get into these different chapters and everything, let's say I just come here and I'm looking at tops of motors here. I can come in. I can look at repulsion start induction motors. I mean, you can see the type of illustrations that you're going to be getting from these presentations now. And we spent quite a bit of time getting everything looking as best as we can get it to look as far as presentation is concerned. But I can come in here and say I wanted to look at starting methods, for instance. Here's your table of contents here. Say you're wanting to learn how to control the speed of the motor. We can go there. We can look at starting a motor on a Y and running on a delta. We come in here, we show you how to determine the voltages and everything by doing the calculations. So this gives everybody a little idea of what the presentations are going to look like. And as I stated before, I've already sent over every one of those come as individual chapters, and we'll have the individual presentations with them. Or you can just order the parts for generators, all transformers, all motors, and get the presentation of that. But I will be providing the links soon to Builder's Bookstore as they get everything up and running, because you're looking at 28 different items they're having to get ready. And from my understanding, the way it's going to look on the website is you're going to have the Stalk Up series on there. And then when you come down, there will be title threads there. So you'll have all the books you can go to, or you can go to what they'll call like the generator series, the transformer series, the motor series, the exam series, which will have the journeyman and masters. And then we'll have the design series, which will be the design and all of that. So those are the ones that we're working on. And there's probably going to be a total time it's all done with everything. If you're an instructor, all you have to do is call Builder's Bookstore when we get to this point, which is going to be real soon, and prove that you're an instructor and you purchase the publication. They'll give you the presentation to go with it. And if you're not an instructor, you can't get that presentation.
I know John Reitz is one of the guys out there that's been interested in that. So big shout out to you, John Reitz. You're already on. I already got Stalk Up to get you on the pre-approved list. So, like I say, we already know you're an instructor and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff, I can pull up these strings. So see what it is, John. James kind of burned me on the 2020 code change. He jipped me on like about 20 code changes. So, I got a little in where he kind of, owes me a little bit. So I'm just kind of like holding him to the fire over them, 20 code changes that I missed out on from Colorado. So,
that was from the state. I did what they told me to do. So.
Oh, now you're gonna blame the state. You could have sent me the extra code changes.
It definitely was the state. I am going to provide a link to that. They're already selling quite a few already, but I do have the link here for the Stalk Up generator, transformer, and motor publication. And when you go over there, you'll see there's all kinds of individual sales there. You can just purchase the whole book. You can purchase to where you get the just the generator, transform, motor, whatever you want. But I put it on Monday. I put it on Monday, so not this coming Monday, but the next Monday it goes off sale. So it's an introductory sale price. If you're interested in it, we do have that available if you want to purchase it. And from there, everything is on there. Matter of fact, I will do this. Let me go over and show everybody. So the last time they saw this, there wasn't much there. But now you're going to see a lot of stuff on here. So this will take you over to the site. And as you look at this, you'll see we've got all these publications for sale here. We still even have the grounding and bonding and the lightning protection. But you'll see everything is done by parts, the whole book, or individual chapters. If there's something specific you want. Also, have it up here. You can come in here and just click what you want to go to. If you want to see motors, for instance, here's all your motor publications. So you can go in there and look at that, get them as individual chapters, and also have freebies. There's 2 freebies I have on here, electrical codes. As a matter of fact, electrical codes and standards, there's probably been about 500 downloads on that, just as a freebie. And the transform theory, I think it's had about 200 already. So a lot of people are coming in and they're downloading these freebies, which we encourage you to do it, because then you can actually see what, just the type of publications they are and how in depth they are. So this will get everybody here an idea of what is there, and you come over and look at everything, and whatever you're interested in, it's there. So
all right. Well, thanks for popping that link in there, James. Like I say, that links over to my page, to your page, and to my personal YouTube. So you should be able to find all that stuff on Facebook, on YouTube. So it means a lot, everyone following us, and like I say, I've had so much participation in NEC Code Myth of the Week. I've been hitting 100,000 almost like every week, and it's just crazy to see that. I think one week I was at 400,000. Yeah. So it just means a lot to just have that much participation. Everyone's jumping in there, getting involved. We already got a like coming through. Appreciate. Thanks for the likes tonight. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. And like I said, I didn't even remember to even look where we were at for subscribers. I know we were getting close to 300. So
I haven't looked either. I haven't even been over on the site at all, hardly. I've been so busy with everything else. Eventually, I'm going to be able to get to where I can check all this stuff. 286, but looking at it, we still got tons of people looking at everything here.
Nice.
Let me look here, because I can come in and I can check through the studio here. Let me see.
Just so you know, at least 100 of those are from me, from all my awesome code people out there that love following the NEC Code page, and it means a lot that you guys show up every week, hang out with us, and just talk code and talk about some myths. And
just the last 28 days, we've had over 1,000 views just on different things that are in there. And I've got some new technology I'm eventually going to come out with that is going to be new videos and stuff that's going to go in there. I'm going to use it in the new programs and stuff we're coming out. So as I do those, I'll have those individual videos there. And, there's going to be a wide array of a lot of things for people to come in and look at.
Nice. Big shout out to my kids. They got me a best dad for Father's Day. I appreciate you guys. And like I say, doing a shout out to Viking Services. They're a company I've been working next to, and they hooked me up this shirt just for this show. So thanks a lot, Viking Services, for hooking me up. Look, he just popped in. It's old Mr. E, David Engelhardt.
Hey, David.
Electrical Code Wizardry. Thanks for jumping in the house. Appreciate you, sir. But I guess we're ready to roll the bean. I can't remember what I did this week. All right, now everyone knows. So this is the way you got to work it. This came straight down from corporate, right? It could wait till Monday, but what they do is they say, "Hey, Bill, you said you'd be done Monday," and I say, "Well, it's still early in the day, still could happen, And then they come to me at the end of the day Monday, and then I say, "Oh, did I say Monday? I thought I said Friday." and then they say, "Oh, well, hey, you know what? It is Friday." And I say, "Oh, well, it's still early in the day, still could happen, And then they come to me at the end of the day Friday, and I'm like, oh yeah, I told you that'd be done by end of day Monday. You know what I mean? So then you just kind of keep it rolling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everything can always wait till Monday. So yeah, and Daniel knows about that. Daniel, we always have Monday problems, so he knows about it. Always it's not Monday. A problem on Monday because I thought I said Friday. So.
All right, let's get ready and do the myth of the week. Even on Monday. Roll it. I agree with you.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
All right. Well, this week's myth is a kind of a funny one. I kind of stumbled across it. David kind of knows all about this one. He probably sees a lot of these comments in the different groups. Like every time I come up with these myths, I think about actual comments that I've seen in different electoral groups, and I did have some people on this one say true, you know, and there was some people that were kind of confused about, you know, how the actual GFCI works. And so where this myth comes from is from a lot of the home inspectors, and this is where David would kind of know into this territory. What they do is they come up, so you're able to put that GFCI in with just a hot and a neutral to ungrounded, on an ungrounded, you know, where you have ungrounded receptacles. And then what you do is you label that no equipment ground, and then when you test that circuit, you have to use the test button. And a lot of the inspectors, they think you could use your test button on your wood head, but you actually can't, because it's not going to work, because that completes the circuit, that tests the circuit between the hot and the ground. And so that actually doesn't work in that case. But this brings up an interesting point, because if you look at like the UL standards, you know, me and James kind of harped on this a lot. When they actually give you, when you're going to test these, you know, you're supposed to test them monthly. Like, you know, I know you test yours monthly over there at the Stall Cut Ranch. But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go and actually use the test button on the device. So that's the only really approved way to do it anyway. The little button on your wood head, that's actually not an approved way to test the device, because it's not giving you the actual trip. I actually have a really fancy one that I got from Klein. I ran it a few tool reviews ago, but it actually is approved, because it trips it between the hot and the neutral, and it gives you the trip time, and it gives you all the different stuff. So that would actually be an okay way. But this week, the myth is false, 100% busted. A GFCI device works perfectly fine without an equipment ground.
I only test it on Mondays.
Oh, there you go. See? Oh, just tied it right in.
Well, I decided I'd put a few little things in here, and actually dealing with 406.4. If you just want to look at those here about the methods of connection of equipment grounding conductor to your grounded type receptacles, that's all here, okay? But where you really want to get into is when you get in, and like you were talking about, looking at the grounded type. And if you go down and look at D2, that's where it goes in and talks about taking a non-grounded type receptacle and just replacing it with a non-grounded type. But if you look at 2B, that's where it gets to be non-grounded type, and it tells you it can be replaced with a grounded, a GFCI type receptacle here. So this, and like you said, then it has to be marked on the cover plates, no equipment ground. So here's where that information comes from, and just ties all of this in about your non-grounding type receptacle being replaced with a GFCI type. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
and then it also shows that you're not taking an equipment ground off of that GFCI device and running it downstream either.
right. And, my favorite part is you go down and look at the exception. It says where the outlet box size will not permit an installation of a GFCI receptacle.
Oh,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
wow.
Just
Okay.
another one that ties into what I've been saying. You got to have something substantial there. So,
Yeah, we always run across that somehow. That's interesting.
I saw that. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready for topic. I've got a few things in here I'm going to show. You're going to see a lot of new articles. That's what I'm telling you to get ready for. And you're going to see Article 265 through 270, and then we're also going to do a new one that's a new Article 305. Okay?
Okay.
So
cool.
Let me go ahead and cue this up. I want to show everybody what's taking place this cycle.
And just as a big disclaimer, I say it every time because I don't want certain people to take us out of context. All these are proposed code changes for the 2026. These have not been passed. So you can run around and post screenshots and show that this is what it's going to say, but it's not set in stone. It's not 100% going to say that yet.
That's correct. There could be
it's
some
90%, 98%, whatever,
Usually the ones that I show are probably going to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
So what they did is, you'll remember when we were last week, I was going through Article 250, and I was talking about the part that had been deleted, and now they created a new part for it, which was Article 270. Okay. Well, they've also taken here, and if you go look at Article 220 or Article 220, you get into your branch circuits, feeders, and services less than 1,000 volts. Well, now you're going to have a new Article 265 where it's over 1,000 volts DC and 1,500 volts DC. Okay, and then when you look at Article 215, you get into feeders for over 1,000 volts. Now you're going to have an Article 266 for that. And then where you're looking at Article 225 for outside branch circuits, feeders, and services for 1,000 volts or less, that is now going to be Article 267 for over 1,000 volts. And then, of course, Article 230 is for your services. Well, now anything over 1,000 volts will be Article 268. Okay? So, we used to have parts in there that dealt with anything over 1,000 volts. Now you're going to be dealing with these as individual sections. So this is a lot of change. Now, I haven't gone through every bit of it and checked what other changes may have taken place. We'll do that when we get there. But for the main portion right now, for everybody to sort of wrap their head around, this is what you're going to see in the 2026 is you're going to have new articles here. Okay.
Yeah, and just so everyone understands, when you get into that over 1,000 volts, that's typically where you're going into what they call medium voltage. Mm-hmm. So a lot of apprentices ask me that, like, hey, 480's high volt, right? And I'm only on high voltage live, baby. But I was just kidding. But we do that as like a pun to show, like, technically we don't typically work on high voltage. We work on what they consider low voltage under 1,000 volts.
Sure. Now, this one is where they have now placed enforceable language, okay? And this is to help take care of where you could have damaged conductors. And they're basically coming in telling you here, when you have conductors and wiring methods that are no longer suitable for use due to damage, And this could be items such as overheating, fire damage, corrosive influence, or water, that they are required to be placed with products that comply with NEC. Okay?
Okay.
So they're just trying to, how many times have you seen them just take a damaged conductor and reuse it? And
Oh yeah.
they're telling you here, no bueno. So that, to me, that's actually a pretty good change, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Now, they made some changes here. First of all, what they did a list item here, which you're going to see throughout the code. There's a lot of stuff that has been done that is now placed in list items. I didn't list every one of those because there's just a whole bunch of them. The meaning didn't change and what was still required, but there are a lot of list items now. Now, what they did here is they did recognize another method here. Okay. And this is going to deal with condensation buildup. And what they're telling you is that we have two items here now, and this is to take and recognize and prevent the buildup for condensation, whether it's on the inside or outside of the conduit. And this is especially true when you're in food processing facilities. So they're telling you in two there, the other approved means, that the use of a fitting or other approved means identified for the purpose of preventing condensation. But then they do get that's a fitting identified for the prevention of condensation that could be a thermal brake coupling.
Right.
Okay. So to me, this is a good change here, especially since it's an approved means that has been identified for the purpose. Okay. And what I want to point out here, this isn't a listed and labeled product here they're talking about. This is a product that's been identified for that purpose. So when you go look at your definition, identified as applied to equipment, that's what they're talking about here. Okay.
Right.
Now, the next one they added was Article 305, and now they've taken all the high voltage out of there, and they've added, or medium voltage, over 1,000 volts, and now you're going to have general requirements for your wiring methods and material systems that are rated over 1,000 volts and 1,500 volts DC. Okay, so as you can see, I think that now brings up to six different new articles that are going to be dealing with systems rated over 1,000 volts AC and 1,500 volts DC. Okay?
Yeah, and I think David had a public input in there for 210.8F to increase it to 60 amps. I actually agree with that, David. I mean, that you have to have that consistency. Like, what's the difference, I mean,
we actually did that on one of the podcasts already, that we covered that it did go up to 60 amps.
Yeah, that was David Eaglehart's public input.
Now, this one is interesting because they're clarifying some stuff here. And what they did, this is where you're dealing with single-phase dwelling services and feeders, and they've added a new sentence now in the third paragraph. And what it says, where correction or adjustment factors are required by 310.15B or 310.15C, they shall be permitted to be applied to the ampacity associated with the temperature rating of the conductor. Okay? Now, let me explain what you're getting into there, because, and you've heard me go over all this before, but they're saying associated with the temperature rating of the conductor. Now, what is going to happen here is you need to go look at table 310.4A and look at the type of conductor. Now, if that, let's just say it was a THWN conductor, okay?
Right.
Now, if you look at that, it's going to tell you that the temperature rating of that conductor is 75 degrees. See? Okay, that means when you take and you're doing the derating for that conductor, you will do it based off the 75 degrees C rating there. But if you have a THWN/THHN, Now you can come over and you can use the 90-degree C column. Okay?
Gotcha.
So you have to look and see what type of conductor here, and that's why it's very specific there, saying associated with the temperature rating of the conductor. Okay?
So did that change from just always being 90?
No, it's always been that way. If you go look at 110.14C, it goes in and talks about your opacity adjustment and correction factors, or both, and it talks about based on the rating of the conductor. All they're doing is...
So this is just to align with that.
Yeah, because this here is getting out there where you're dealing with service and feeder conductors. Okay?
Gotcha.
And just not the grounded conductors. So a lot of times, what do you see people run outside? THW. THWN. Yep. That's not THHN. If that's the case, then you can only use the 75-degree C column.
Gotcha.
Okay? So that's why I think this is an important change. I think it helps clarify a few things here. Okay?
Nice. All right.
Now, the next one is reconditioned equipment. All right? And what this is going to deal with is where you got cabinets, cutout boxes, and meter socket enclosures. They're not required. You're not permitted to recondition these items. And you're going to see next week, I'm going to go to Article 314, and it's going to say you can't recondition outlets either. Okay? So...
When you said that, it just clicked in my head. When you showed that, I thought that was funny.
That's right. And that is one of the things I've been talking about, is when you go in and you look at these different things, when I get to Article 314, it says you can't recondition an outlet. It doesn't say outlet points. And like I've been trying to say, a point is established somewhere. You got to have something there. So I think this is going to be very important just to take care of this. Not much, but there are going to be some. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're actually going to go through each one of those chapters and see where changes were made, and then we're going to also illustrate where there is a difference. Okay? Right. So, yes, we are going to go through all that. All right? And then this one was 312.11, and what this is going to get into is your splice taps and feed-through conductors, and they're going to do some clarification here. And what they're going to tell you is, if you go down and look at 5 and then look at the sentence underneath it, what this is going to do is going to preclude meter socket enclosures from containing non-service conductors. Okay?
Right.
So basically what they're going to tell you is that if it deals with a service, that's what it's going to deal with. You can't have all these other conductors there. Okay? So when you look at it, it says the conductors are not service conductors in A5. And then it says the wiring space of enclosures for meter sockets shall not contain conductors feeding through or tapping off to other enclosures, switches, or overcurrent devices. This requirement shall not preclude conductors terminating to the meter socket. Okay? Right. So they're just doing some clarification here to tell you which type of conductors are permitted there. All right?
Well, and does that have anything to do with fused or unfused?
Well, yeah, it would, because it's still a meter socket enclosure.
Right.
Regardless. It's everything that's said here is they're talking about the wiring space enclosure for those meter sockets. And it's telling you what cannot be in that, in those meter sockets. Okay? And I think this helps clarify to make sure there's no other conductors in there. Okay?
Because you could tap off the load side, right? And that would be technically...
That's right.
I guess it would be unfused.
Yeah, it's still part of that. It's part of the conductors that are permitted to be there. They're talking about other conductors, people running through there and using it as a junction box. I can tell you what they're talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we covered that as a myth too, just for everyone out there. You could use a disconnect as a raceway.
We did.
All
right. So that takes care of the topic of the week. There will be more coming week by week as we go through this and start getting ready for the comment stage that's about to take place. Everybody's submitting in July, and I've got quite a few things that are going to be submitted. So
got them right where we want them.
We'll see. At least the main thing is at this point, at least we have a substantiation. And once you get a substantiation, then you can submit off of that and see what they said and then clarify from that point on.
Oh yeah, I forgot. We're still waiting to see what they said. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
Forgot.
That's going to happen soon.
Yeah. All right.
Tool of the week. Let's see what we got for you here this week.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
All right. Well, this week I got a request from one of my apprentices, and he had the Klein version of the Roto split, and he was like, "What's the best one out there?" And I was like, "It is the original Roto split by C-Tech, and this is the best that is out there. The adjustment thing works better. The blades are stronger. They have the blade storage. I think they all have the blade storage thing." But like I say, that I think I still have my original one. I bought it in probably the 90s when they first said to get a Roto split, and I bought it in the 90s, and I still have it. Still works. It's never adjusted. Just throw it on there. It works every single time. Like I say, if I was gonna recommend any of the Roto splits, now I did this as a myth to say this is the only one approved for terminating and cutting MC, and that is incorrect. This is a really good tool. So I'll tell you a story about this, James. So one of my apprentices is like, "Oh, I could be way faster with my dikes." I was like, "All right, I'll race you." So then we roughed like half a room or something, and I crushed him with the Roto split. I was doing like 2-to-1, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, "Oh, that's way faster, you know." So then he says, "All right." He goes, "I want to use the Roto split and you do dikes." And I'm like, "All right." So then I went and I got my dikes out and I gave him my Roto split, and then I was still doing 2-to-1 on him. So, you know, it just goes to show you that, you know, either way. And then I actually did a post, a really popular post. Everyone probably already knows out there. I did it. I still have it saved. I'll have to do it again. But it has the 2017 code book on there. But I cut one. I did a termination. I cut it with my dikes. And then I did another termination. I cut it with my Roto split. And then I put them side by side. And I was like, which one's which? You know? And nobody could really tell, you know? Like, it was funny because it's not really that noticeable. If you know how to do it with the dikes, you just snip it, break it, and then clean it. And with the Roto split, you just, you know, cut it and strip it. So, what I say, if I was going to recommend any Roto split out there, I'd recommend this one, the original Roto split. It is probably one of the best tools that you can get for just strictly cutting MC. And like I say, they're the original and always been the best. Klein makes one, but I don't know, Klein, you got some work to do on that one. The Klein one's not even close to the C-Tech version.
That's cool.
So, appreciate that request to my apprentice. You know who you are. I'll do a Paul Abernathy. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. You are. But I think you'll like this question of the week. Like I say, this I saw it in the Stall Cup 2023 code change publication, and I was like, this is gonna be a good one moving through in the future.
Yeah, this is where they made the change in 240.4. I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's D3 in the small conductors, and it's 10 amp.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that one.
I knew I couldn't get you on that one, but I kind of did it for the people out there that, didn't really know, kind of where we were coming from with like the stall cup thing and everything like that, and like I say, it's one of those things that, I like when I can get you on your own book, but I knew I wasn't going to get you on that one.
Well, that one, they made some changes up in previous portions to tie that in. Matter of fact, that's really dealing with what they did in the definitions and everything, and that's where that's coming from. I know exactly what all that's about.
Well, the whole thing, it's kind of a weird thing. It's hard for me to know who to believe when it comes down to this, because like when you look at like the UL testing and everything, they said that the copper clad aluminum actually performed equal to copper,
Mm-hmm.
And so they said that a number 14 copper and a number 14 copper clad aluminum both equally performed, but then they wanted to diminish the copper clad aluminum. So I've heard like good and bad on both sides, I heard that the copper clad aluminum is brittle and fragile and breaks a lot, so I can see that being like a downside to, putting a conductor at the same ampacity as copper. I think it's a really healthy debate to, get into. The code making panel, there was a few certain code making panel members for cable manufacturers that were just like, no way is this stuff ever gonna fly. To me personally, I think it would be good if we could figure out a way to use it, maybe terminate it a certain way, or have some kind of special termination to where you can guarantee it with the same life as copper. I think that's where it's lacking right now, because I don't think you could terminate it the same way that you do copper. I think copper's got a lot more durability and stuff, and like I say, there was a lot of debate on that one with the code making panel. To me, I don't see that's another debate, is that everyone's like, I've never seen a 10 amp overcurrent device for like breakers, especially when you get into like arc fault breakers and stuff like that. But then once you do that, like, what are you gonna feed?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a hard deal too, like, well, I'm gonna just only feed my 10 amps of lighting. I mean, that's gonna be difficult. I mean, but what is I wanted to get kind of your take on that too. Like, what is your feeling on copper clad aluminum and having it possibly rated the same as copper? Do you feel that's all right?
Well, we had was it Crystal on? Who was it? We had on.
Yeah. Crystal Hunter was on about
Hunter,
aluminum alloy 8000.
Yeah, and she was going through all of that, and from my take on it, just listening to her and everything, I think it works fabulous. I don't see any problem with it, and just based on what she was going through and the things she was explaining and the testing and stuff that they've done, I think the copper clad works perfectly fine, and I could actually see, eventually, because I think, if I remember right, she was sort of saying it was cheaper too than just getting the copper, and if that's the case, I could see where they'll start producing this stuff, and that will work really good if you've got a lot of say LED lighting and stuff in the house. I could see no problem at all using that and having a 10 amp breaker supplied, because it's not going to pull that many amps.
And that opens up another myth that you might see. Not saying for sure, but guess how they tested it?
I don't remember how she said they tested it.
They tested it with backstab. So they backstabbed a receptacle with copper, and then they backstabbed a receptacle with copper clad, and they both performed equally. Well,
Yeah.
the reason that is you don't have that skin effect. You don't have all these different. A lot of people say, oh well, the stab-ins, they don't work good because of this and this, and but they don't understand that at that lower frequency and at that lower amperage, you don't have the same effects like you do on like the higher ampacities and higher frequencies.
That is true, and that's what I'm saying, because you would be feeding different things to that, and I think it mainly would work really good with LEDs and stuff like that. That's not pulling a lot of amperage. That's why I think it'd be the best.
But it seemed like there was just like a really massive argument with like the code making panels where they just saw this repeat of like the 70s when they started like trying to get copper bullets for the war effort for Vietnam, and they started instituting I think it was like aluminum alloy 1307 or something. I can't remember what it was called, but that aluminum was horrible, and there was a lot of almost basically house fires because of that. And so they saw that as like a repeat of that. It was like I'm gonna have to do something like that. I actually could probably make a meme for like next week on that, but that's literally how the code making panels looked at it. Was like they just were like these Vietnam flashbacks of, what I mean, like not wanting to put this inferior product in all these houses, and I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced that it's inferior. I mean, to me personally, I think with the proper testing and all the proper stuff, I think it could be a valuable conductor that we could use, in the future, and especially if you got it down cost-wise and everything. Like the reason that AA8000 is such a good product is it dissipates heat better, and it carries roughly the same amount of ampacity, but the copper coating, so like the copper cladding, will actually have that surface area to not deteriorate that connection loss. You don't have as much of that connection loss. Like that's the whole point of doing the cladding, is that you carry the same amount of ampacity as copper with a cheaper price than copper.
And that goes back to my point. Who are the ones that didn't want it in there? Copper manufacturers.
Yep. 100%. 100%. And the thing is that, like, when I looked at the testing, like, I don't think that they like to see the testing where you have a product that performs equally. Like, I think they were expecting to see some kind of failure, and then on top of that, it was a backstabbed receptacle. You know what I mean? Like, everyone says those backstab receptacles cause fires, and they lose ampacity, and they have bad connections, weak connections, all that kind of stuff. And here they go and test it on that, which is, perfectly listed. Like, those receptacles are listed at a 14 gauge. So I thought it was interesting. Like, you would think if they're really trying to test them, they'd have wrapped the screw. You know what I mean? But no, they use the backstabs. And so that's going to be like a myth coming up in the future, because a lot of people say those backstabs are like a fire hazard, and they like kill old ladies in their sleep, and all that same stuff that they say about you, but
Unbelievable.
They say it about me too. But the whole thing is like, well, when you look at it, like just like with this myth this week, I mean, Vontrell Pergo would still be with us if there was equipment ground pulled to that freaking AC unit.
That's
right.
And
that's the whole thing is like they're overlooking that, and they're gonna have to address that this cycle. Like they can't just, oh well, we have this in the code because of a death, and it's like, okay, well, where do you address the substantiation that there was no equipment grounding conductor, and it was abnormal use of equipment? Because the NEC doesn't cover abnormal use of equipment.
That's right.
So that's kind of another thing that's almost kind of like a smoking gun there, where you're like, okay, it's really awesome that you want to put something in the code and you want to, say, all right, from now on, everything's going to be safe because of us. But at the same time, if it doesn't work, our eyes were wide open when we started learning about all the hundreds of deaths from the people that was incompatibility issues, and you're sitting there saying this one death that you made this big deal about is greater than all these people, like elderly, that are just gonna die in like Texas heat. I'm not saying it's hot in Texas. Texas.
Hot right now. It's getting hotter.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it's important for this equipment to function correctly, and that's a big deal. That's a bigger deal to me. That's why I submitted my public input. I don't know if David knew about it, but I submitted an overall compatibility. So if you have manufacturer's instructions that say do not put it on AC, do not put it on Class A protection, and do not, that this equipment is listed and labeled as safe for consumers without GFC Act protection, that overrides the NEC, in my opinion.
It does. Well, I can tell you when this comment stage comes out to 90.7 and 110.3b, I'm going to add a sentence in there, and I'm going to make them state it. I'm going to say the National Electrical Code overrides the listing and labeling. The definitions of identified, listed, and labeled. That's how I'm going to state it, because it doesn't. And, it goes back to what I was saying. When you go look at 1910.7b, it specifically tells you in B3 there that you have to, when they're doing creating an ANSI standard and an ASTM standard, they consider national codes when they take and give that listing and labeling. So I'm going to have the code making panel say, no, it does not override that. And when they do, this argument's over with at that point.
True. And the whole thing is with the overall compatibility. I mean, that's been my issue the whole time, because here I am, and this, I'm sitting there working in industrial and commercial, like heavy commercial, heavy industrial, and we're just trying to get the stuff to work. Like, that's awesome to comply with code. I 100% want to comply with code. But we had a ton of compatibility issues at the high-rise we did downtown. And it was like, what do you do? What do you do as the HJ? Are you gonna just force your hand and say, no, you can't install that? And I thought it was a really good take that I had, was like, okay, so if your electrical vehicle service equipment doesn't work, the code making panel wants you to walk. If your oven or your stovetop doesn't work on a Class A device, they want you to barbecue. They want you to not use it. If your HVAC equipment doesn't work, they just want you to use a fan and not even use HVAC equipment. That's like taking us back to the Stone Age. Are you seriously going to make those statements? And so that's what I'm going to bring up for the public inputs for 2026, is be like, you guys need to actually make these statements saying these appliances cannot be installed. And I hope they say that. That'd be cool, because they've been saying it on all the other groups and everything, and I want them to say it straight up to NFPA.
Well,
Like,
I just
this equipment can't be installed.
I just take it back to the way it used to, like what happened the last cycle. Is, we got this supposedly mic drop from Ryan Jackson, that he was on the floor when the code got accepted, and they said mic drop, and I said, and they were just hooting and hollering. We were wrong on it, and I told them ahead of time. I said, doesn't matter what happens before. I said, you're going to have the manufacturer stuff. They're going to fight that, and they got the documentation where they've gone in and they've actually tested and see what the effects are. I said, what the code making panel submitted with their TIA did not have technical merit. I said, it's going to be rejected. And what was I told? You don't know how the code making process works. And sure enough, what ended up happening? Went before the Standards Council. They told Code Making Panel 2 that their TIA lacked technical merit to do what they were saying. They took everything back and said that the TIA that was submitted by the task group that was put together to do all the testing and everything, certain members of Code Making Panel 2 didn't like that testing and tried to push their weight around and go ahead and pass it anyway, and it ended up getting rejected by the Standards Council. The same thing's going to happen here. You can't force something down somebody's throat without technical merit to do so. And that's where the problem's going to come in. And I'll say this one more thing. We'll just say the people that make the AC, they are not going to make their equipment compatible just to make Code Making Panel 2 happy. They're going to make their equipment that meets exactly what the UL standard is for that, and the ASTM testing standard. So you got an ANSI and ASTM testing standard. And as long as they're meeting that, it really doesn't matter what Code Making Panel 2 or certain people that are on these groups saying that the manufacturer needs to get their crap together. They got their crap together. You just don't like that they're not doing what you tell them to do. Yeah. That's what I've said this before. They're sort of like the liberal mob. They go out there and they start calling everybody names, making accusations towards somebody, but yet they're following the rules and regulations that are in place to have that equipment compliant. Sure. I get so tired of listening to all that stuff. It's like, you guys, you make all these comments and stuff and say they need to do this, and this. No, they don't have to do nothing. They're following what the law and the regulations are. That's why the equipment gets a little label on there that says UL, ETL, FM, CSA, whatever national code they're doing. So, therefore, my opinion at that point, it meets exactly what they're supposed to do.
Well, yeah, and it gets into this really funny one. I know you were there because I know you saw the video when I asked Tommy D. And I'm like, hey, did you guys do any kind of compatibility study on EBSE? And he's like, no. He goes, that's not part of our scope. He's like, no. And then even Nihad was like, oh, no, that's a listed labeled equipment that has personnel protection. And they're both 100% right. And then, guess what? They kind of find out that that's not what 210.8F is meaning to say for them. So then they're like, oh, no, it applies, And it's like, that's the stupidest thing ever. That if you use that logic, that's like saying a GFCI protected device is not GFCI protected at the line side of the GFCI device. Mm-hmm. That's the stupidest thing ever. Oh no, you have to protect the outlet and the GFCI device.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You look at all these items and everything that are out there and stuff that they're requiring to have GFCI protection. They haven't checked to see if there's anything compatible or not. And that's basically just a code making panel putting their will to what they want done without doing the research to see if it needs it or not. Just, it's like I said, you have a death and the death had nothing to do with equipment that happened, 15, 16 years ago, and that is your basis.
17. Yeah, it happened in 2007.
Give me a break. That's not even a basis right there.
But the problem is too that it happened 17 years ago. So you're saying that you should have made a change in 2008. You should have made a change in 2011. You should have made a change in 2014. You should have made a change in 2017. Mm-hmm. Oh, Daniel. Is it Daniel? Is it DJ? Daniel J jumping in the house?
Oh,
who's jumping in here?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
oh, awesome. What's up?
This guy.
All right. No, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you jumping in, man.
How are y'all doing?
Oh, you're in Mexico. You're in Mexico City, right?
Oh no, we headed out to Mexico City 2 weeks ago because they shot my uncle and killed him, and we had to have his funeral and had to say some prayers.
I'm sorry to hear about that, brother.
Oh.
Yeah, sound like Adam's jumping in too. Awesome. Thanks, Cameron. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Who shot him?
Oh, you know that? Cesar?
I said, who shot him? Do you know who?
Oh, sorry. Who shot him? I don't know. I don't know, actually. Well, really, nobody knows. They're investigating it, and they are withholding all the data from the phones. Like, even my mom, their WhatsApp and most social media, maybe except for Telegram.
Damn.
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that, Cesar. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. We love having you on here. And like I say, I don't know if you're more familiar with Canada laws or the U.S. laws, but we're doing like stupid laws for Canada and U.S. So I tried to make it fair because I didn't know where people were from. And Adam, when he jumps in here, he's more like on the Canada side, So
oh yeah,
he might know more of the Canada.
I actually, sorry, I live in Texas, South Texas.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Where at in Texas?
Allen? I live in this place called Port Lavaca.
Yeah, I know where Port Lavaca is, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas, too. Been here my whole life. I'm in Fort Worth, so.
Oh, yeah. The one thing that I may be embarrassed or not is that I didn't know that you didn't put beans in chili. I actually learned that when I was walking.
That's bullshit. I'm going to tell you right now. That is always an argument. Back in the day, I actually did some research on this because I wanted to know because, I'm a big Longhorn fan, and they always have these threads, beans and chili or not. And I went in doing some research, and when you go back and look when they first started doing chili, all right, chili was actually done on the trail drives, okay? And they put whatever they had. They put beans in it, tomatoes, onions, whatever they had. And I'm telling you, on the trail drives, they always had beans. That was a staple. And they would take and just, kill one of the cows on the cattle drive, and that's where they got the meat. And that's when they started making chili, and they did it with the beans, So it comes down to what do you want to believe, but actually I did or if the research was correct, chili actually had beans in it at first. So, that.
Yeah.
So, did you hear that was a Texas thing or something, Cesar?
Oh, I was actually screaming myself walking on the street, and there was this guy who was like, do you put beans in chili? And he was like, you must be from up north then.
No.
And then he was like, "You don't put beans in chili, you silly boy." And then I was like, "What? Okay, that's what you
Sounds
say."
like an Yankee insurgent, James, to me. Sounds like somebody from New York City.
You go in and you look. You actually go and research it. It was on the trail drives that chili started, and they had it with beans. I'm telling you, I researched it because I grew up when I had chili. The only time we really had chili is when we were having hot dogs and things like that, and we never put beans in it if it's with a hot dog stuff. But as I got older,
yo, what's up, Metro? How you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, hey, Metro!
Team SOS coming in now.
All right, what's up?
I find it interesting when you go back, and that's why I researched it, because now you go out and eat sometimes out of chili, and then you'll see Southwest chili. Well, if you get Southwest chili, hell, they put corn in it. and different things and beans. So it just sort of depends which one you're getting. But I've had it with beans and without beans, and this is just my opinion.
Welcome in, John. Beans. John Jansen. Thanks for joining up. Appreciate you.
But
welcome in, John.
That would be a good one to have. Does the chili taste better with beans or without beans? I'd like to see people comment on that.
Mossy, what's up? Team SOS in the house. Thanks for jumping on in tonight.
Oh, yeah, we've got the Team SOS crew coming in. Oh.
All right, Adam's coming. Adam's jumping in. We have a big surprise for Adam. That's why I was waiting for Adam. I was gonna see.
Oh, yeah.
We might have a little surprise for Adam. Well, of course, I always have a pickle shot for Adam. So, I keep my pickle shot ready, and I realize, Daniel J in the house. What's up, Daniel? Oh, dude, he could not. See, we had to make sure it was a fair fight today. We had to make sure. So, welcome in, Daniel. Thanks for joining us. First time ever, Daniel, joining live. That was awesome. Awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, there's a little bit of mustache and beard there, John, but, mostly like we always say, beard is beautiful, but,
I'm sort of be like Caesar. I can't take, I can go for 2 weeks before I have to shave. I swear to God, I don't know what it is. I've never been able to grow hair on my face for some reason.
Dude, I could go like 4 years before I have to shave. See.
I'm telling you, it may get probably about a 1/4 inch long in 2 weeks. It just like damn. I don't know. I got a baby face. I guess I don't know. Shit.
So we're gonna actually have to have a new saying there, Daniel, that we have hair and beard on fire, because like every time we get on these like rush jobs, like everyone just has to run around with like their hair on fire, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on with that? Hey, what's that? Wait, hey, did you fix that? Hey." Oh, yeah. He knows all about it. It's so ridiculous. Yeah, and like nothing gets done. Like they just run around freaking out, and then it's like, wow, you managed to spend your whole morning freaking out, nothing got done, It's like, maybe you should just organize what...
Seems like
they get into a hurry.
Oh, there he is.
And then stuff gets messed up while you're rushing, and then you got to go back and fix it later.
True. Yeah, good point, Daniel. I appreciate it.
About my hair, my beard, I shave at least either once or twice a week, and I either do it with my what's this thing called? Braun shaver. I think it's the S9 series, or I use my Harry's shaver. Just
You're from Stranger Things, season 4.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Metro mentioned this one time. he showed me a character that I looked like, and then I saw it.
All right.
And I was
Adam's here. Adam's in the house.
That just ain't standing.
Oh, I see Adam on the phone. Not sure why he's not on here.
But I just want to shout out to Bill. He was my journeyman when I was a second year, and he really took time, and Bill takes time to teach, and I learned a lot from him. He was one of the few guys that actually taught me when I was in my first and second year. A lot of guys are like, oh, just grab this and do this, we got to get it done, and they don't really take time to teach, and so I try to do that myself with apprentices, and it upsets people sometimes when I take time. But if we don't teach these guys how to do things in the correct way, they're not going to learn. The guys coming up, aren't going to be well-rounded if they're not being taught correctly.
Oh, sure.
Dude, 100%, Daniel. And I got this funny story about this. So I just started with this new What's that?
Make every day an easy day. I like that.
There you go. Like it. Yeah, so I got this funny story about this. I just start this new company, and I walk in, and the general contractor comes up and hugs me. And he's like, oh my God, Bill's here. We're saved, And I'm just like, okay, like this is weird, So then I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get the new guys and how bad the company's buried and how we got to get this job out of the hole and everything. And this guy comes up and he goes, oh, you just came from the other company, huh? And I was like, yeah. He goes, you know a guy named Daniel J? I was like, yeah. He goes, he's the best piper at freaking that company. And I was like, oh yeah, guess who taught him? I was like, boom. It was just an awesome compliment.
And Bill,
hey, you're lucky, Daniel.
Make every day an easy day. And this trade is not a hard trade once you go through the apprenticeship and you learn how to do everything. I've been doing it 6 years. I mean, you guys have been a lot longer, but I've learned, it's not that hard, man. But sometimes these leadership and management, they make things hard, and you try and suggest better ways to do things, and then they call you a whiner and whatnot. But
that never happened. Whatever. Nuh-uh.
Hey, I started back in 1978 when I was 14, and I worked with my dad. And you got off a little bit easier. If I was doing something wrong, he'd just slap me upside the head and tell me to pay attention. You dumbass! Look what I'm doing here.
But there's so many innovative tools.
Go ahead.
So many tools out there, like Greenlee and Milwaukee really stepped their game up. These wire tuggers and a lot of these tools that make the work a lot easier for us out there in the field.
Sure, it does.
True. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess Adam's probably here. I guess he's got his icon there.
Oh yeah, I see Adam, but I don't think he has his mic enabled. Not sure if he saw my comment, but
okay.
Or maybe he knows and he's trying to fix it.
All right. So you'll have to check out Daniel. I got a new intro tonight. So
you ready?
Ready to roll the Willie Quiz?
All right, here we go.
We're ready.
Damn, I didn't know you were in that good shape.
Yeah.
The truck.
From all that
there you go.
Canyon, baby.
Hey, Daniel knows it. My nickname's the truck. We had a funny story. I was pulling wire, and the master electrician says, "I'll just go get the company truck," And And this was like an exotic dealership. Like they sold like exotic cars, and they were pulling the wire, and it like ripped a wall down, and it just like barely missed like some of these like $1 million cars, you know. And somehow we got away with not hurting any cars, and we had to like rebuild the wall and everything. And they're like, from now on, nobody at this company uses a company truck to pull wire, you know. So I'm sitting there like, all right. So I get a guy like Daniel in there for his second year. I'm like, just feed, and I got them feeding, and I'm sitting outside, and I'm pulling with the rope, you know. And I'm just running. I just got it tied around my waist. I'm just running. Well, the head of the wire hit the 90, and it just ripped the whole conduit right out of the wall. And about 2 seconds later, the owner shows up. He's like, I thought I talked to you about not pulling wire with the truck. And I'm like, dude, I was like, I did it by hand. He's like, no way did you do that by hand. You know, and so he wouldn't believe me. And like everyone at the shop, that was their joke. Because they're like, hey, what's up, truck? You know, and so they're like, hey, company truck's here. You know, hey, you want to pull wire? Get on it, truck. And Daniel's seen before where we had some like pretty massive runs with, you know, like out in gas and oil industrial where they're pretty long, and the foreman made a mistake and we cut it too short, and he's just like, all right, put the truck on it, let's get about 3 more feet. And that's what we did. We put the truck on it. We got it up, and we made a termination. But it was a lot of fun, Daniel. I enjoyed working with you out there. It was a lot of fun.
Just don't wrap the cord around the pony foot.
Oh yeah. He flipped the tri-stand like the first day I worked with him, and I didn't even know what he was doing. I was like, "What's going on?" They're like, "Hey, you're the journeyman. You work with this guy," and he's sitting there using the power pony because the machine threader like was too messed up or whatever. Because I didn't know why he's using the power pony for 2-inch, and usually you put like a rope around the handle, or you know what I mean? You just do different ways. Like you got a cheater bar, you could put a cheater bar in there to get more leverage and stuff. Well, he didn't know, and so he's sitting there trying to thread. Next thing you know, it flips the tri-stand. So like right next to the office, and they come out. First thing they yelled at was me. They didn't even care about Daniel. They're like, why is he using a pony threader? Oh, they were all mad. I was like, all right. Like, oh, first day? You know. But that's where I came up with the first day meme. But, hey, first day, you know.
That's right.
But, all right, well, good luck, everyone. Hope everyone has good luck with these questions this week. Hope you enjoy. All right, question number 1. What is it illegal to do while riding a horse in Boulder? Wear a cowboy hat like King James, play a flute, spit like King James, or ride at night like King James. Good luck, everyone.
Well, hell, this is interesting because I know it in some areas, I think even Colorado, it's illegal to be drinking while riding a horse. And I think there's even one where it was illegal to fish while even riding a horse or on a horse. So
Yeah.
those were two that I would have automatically in my mind. But this one, and if I'm not mistaken, I think in Boulder, I thought I heard this one time that it's illegal to even move a boulder or crack a boulder or something like that.
True. Yeah.
So those are
There
three
is,
things I knew about Boulder.
Ooh, Daniel's what? Play a flute while riding? Yeah, right, dude. Like that's gonna be one. Oh, we do have some B answers up in here. Wow.
That is
all right.
interesting because I think that might be something that you'd be worrying about scaring the animal. So
Yeah.
I think That's probably correct. I'll go with play a flute too.
All right, so where are you at, Cesar?
Yeah, I have this video about dumb laws in the United States, and I watched it. It's more than an hour long, but it's really entertaining. You should check it out. And of course, in Colorado, it is illegal to ride a horse while being drunk. In fact, the guy was charged in 2013 trying to do so. And apart from that, oh, and by the way, I've heard King James mention something about breaking a law. Well, I actually studied Colorado laws today, and one of the laws was it's illegal to mutilate a rock or a boulder in a state. So, you know what?
I would agree.
I guess I'm going to go with B. I have no idea that any of these answers could be right, but I'll go with the general consensus with B.
Well, if you were drinking, you'd be riding at night. But the correct answer is B, so everyone gets a correct answer. So, great way to deduce the stupid law that you cannot ride a horse and play a flute while drunk or at night either. So,
The only reason I went with it is because I knew you couldn't fish on top of one. I read that somewhere a long time ago. I think I was trying to remember which state I read it. It might have been like Georgia or something like that you couldn't fish on top of a horse. I was like,
dude,
really?
I was like kicking myself when you knew the funny mustache one from Sunday.
Yep.
That was crazy.
All right, let's see what
All
the
right.
next one is.
In Alamosa, it is illegal to do what in public? A. Throw snowballs. B. Sneeze without covering your nose. C. Wear sunglasses indoors. Or D. Carry a lunchbox. Good luck, everyone. Dude, Mossy is all over it. Dude, Mossy, did you get like some cheat code or something? Like, dude, Mossy is all over it. Mossy goes, C, wear sunglasses indoors. Like, oh man.
That is interesting. C was my first initial answer, and then A was my next one. So I'm going to go with C.
All right, and let's see what Daniel J goes with. Daniel J goes with throw snowballs. Oh, dude. Oh man. So, where are you at with this one, Cesar?
I actually, in my research before this show, I've been reading some Colorado laws, and as far as I could read, none of them mentioned wearing sunglasses indoors. But I actually did read something that said it's illegal to throw snowballs. I'm not sure if it's Alamosa or, anywhere in Colorado. Well, of course it's in Colorado. What am I saying? But I'm going to go with A as well.
All right, Cesar. Well, you would be carrying your lunchbox full of snowballs because you are correct. So A is the correct answer, and James gets a wah wah. First miss of the night for King James. So that was awesome.
One or two of them.
Good distraction. Mossy already knows the answer to the next one as A. So awesome. Awesome. Mossy has a little system. So hopefully Mossy's just throwing out King James all night. All right. So this law is in Edmonton. It is against the law to do what to a certain type of animal on the streets in an alley. Is it A, feed pigeons? Is it B, let your dog bark for more than 30 minutes? Is it C, paint a horse? Or is it D, drive with a cat on your lap? Good luck, everyone. Oh man, Mossy's on it. Oh man. Or D. Dude, Mossy says A, feed pigeons. Oh, DJ, Daniel J.
This one's really hard.
He's going A. Oh yeah, dude, feed pigeons. So, oh man, I mean. Daniel J is going B, let your dog bark for more than 30 minutes. Dude, that could be... There's a lot of noise stuff in Canada, too. Dude, we have some really good answers this time.
I would think because I'm going to go with A. I think feeding pigeons would be a thing I have no freaking idea on this, to be honest. But I'll go with A.
Yeah. Dude, great answers. DJ Joe's D goes A. Thanks for joining, Joe's D. Appreciate it. Dude, Joe's D's copying your answer there, King James. What about you, Cesar?
Oh, this is a tough one. I was going to say, and I still might say B, because, there may be some noise complaints in Canada, well, in Edmonton, if you let your dog bark. But on the street.
Yeah, so DJ Joe's D actually changed to D, drive with your cat on your lap. That could have maybe caused some accidents, possibly. Maybe. I don't know who drives with their cat on their lap, but maybe the cat got startled or something. I don't know. So, all right. So, out of all the answers that we have tonight, you are all wrong. It is C, paint a horse. So, you cannot paint a horse in Edmonton in an alley. I think it said in an alley too or something, but I don't know. I guess they were like painting horses, and the cops busted in on them and said, "Nah, you're donezo." So
I'm gonna have to tell Mike if he messed with that.
So all right, so we have two good answers so far, and there's people out there with three. Cesar, I think Cesar's leading right now. Cesar's doing good.
Wow.
So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so good doing research on the stupid laws. All right, so here's the alley one. All right. In Edmonton, which of the following is illegal to sell in an alley? Is it A, ice cream? Is it B, hot dogs? Is it C, jewelry? Or is it D, newspapers? Good luck, everyone. All right, so Mossy goes with B, hot dogs. That's a good answer. Like, I don't know who'd be selling jewelry in an alley, but that kind of, I don't know. And then newspapers, I guess. Like, maybe they want the newspapers, like, more out by the street or something. And then, like, I don't know, like, maybe the ice cream truck got, like, mad at him. I don't know. I mean, this one, it's kind of hard.
Oh, golly. I think, I don't know why, but
Dude, Marcy's like right away at B. He's already at B before I even post the question. That's all right.
You know, it's interesting because I could see that they might be worrying about an alley getting dirty. So that's where I'm thinking about this. So I would think you would be looking at B or D in this instance.
Right.
So ice cream you'd be taking eating with you. There's nothing really there that would dirty the alley, but a hot dog coming in the thing and newspaper.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
sure.
with D. I'm gonna go with D.
D, good answer. Let's see, do we have any other D answers? Oh, Marcy's still sticking with D. Let's see.
Nobody's
Daniel
sure
J.
on this one.
Daniel J goes with ice cream. Oh, Daniel could actually take the lead here.
This is a good one. Okay. So ice cream. By the way, I am not too sure what an alley is. Like, I've heard of an alley, but I have like no concrete idea on what it is.
I have one behind my house. I have an alley, and it's just basically like an unpaved road that, it's like behind my house.
Oh, that's good.
Or it could be like where you have two buildings close to each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
You got an alley through there. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that maybe, this is a tough one. Jewelry, like, it's unusual, but I can't see them being prohibited from selling jewelry. D, newspapers, well, maybe unless there is a law that makes newspapers essentially free to the public, I wouldn't, say that they are illegal.
Yeah, I mean, I could see like where King James is coming from. If you're selling newspapers, you're taking up too much of the alley. So like, maybe you had to like set up your newspaper stand, and maybe that's why they made it illegal.
I guess maybe when it comes to food, maybe the question is like, is the food expected? Does it come from a reliable supplier or anything?
True.
I don't know. Maybe I'll go with B, hot dogs. With not too bad.
All right. Cesar takes his final answer at B. And we had some really good answers, but Daniel J takes the win on this one. It is A, ice cream.
Really?
So, yeah, do not be selling ice cream in an alley in Edmonton. I think Daniel takes the lead now. I think Daniel is on his way to being a new champ. All right. Yeah. So, Colorado. What item is illegal to lend to your neighbor in Louisville, Colorado? Is it A, vacuum cleaner? Is it B, garden hose? Is it C, lawnmower? Or is it D, dog leash? Good luck, everyone. All right, so right away, Mossy, did you get my freaking answer key, bro? He's already on dog leash, dude. He's locking in a D, dude. Come on, Mossy, man, you can't Google it, bro. I mean, dude, like I don't know if he Googled it or not, but to me, right away, everyone said, I asked everyone at the job site, they said it was lawnmower.
I'm
And maybe it's because you tried to use your lawnmower as a hedge trimmer and chop your fingers off, you know? It didn't say, do not use this as a hedge trimmer.
I'm gonna go last on this one because I think I know what it is.
All right. So we have two answers up there. One D, dog leash. One vacuum cleaner. What are you thinking, Mossy? Or what are you thinking, Cesar? Sorry.
Okay, I remember this one. And lawnmower, maybe not. Well, maybe it could be in the future, but unless. Okay, I'm just gonna go on myself. It's a vacuum cleaner.
Where you got, Daniel?
I put A.
So,
You did A?
oh, Daniel's going A, the vacuum
Yeah.
cleaner.
I don't know if it's Colorado, but I remember one time hearing something similar about this that I don't remember where I saw it one time, but they were talking about it was illegal to own a vacuum cleaner. And I don't know if it's Colorado or where it was, but I remember hearing that one time a long time ago. And people were like, that's freaking stupid. So I think it's A too.
So, Cesar, you're going lawnmower?
No, I'm going with vacuum cleaner.
Well, surprise, but everyone gets the right answer except Mossy. Mossy had the only incorrect answer, but it was a really great Willie quiz this week. Thanks so much for everyone joining. Mossy, thanks so much for your great answers, and thanks Daniel for joining. Dude, I really appreciate it, man. Like the way Daniel like came up in the trade was like the right way, because I told him just like, you know what, don't worry about these guys being critical. Like Daniel was like a first year, he was in charge of like exit signs, and they were like all walking through all the bosses, and they're like, wow, who ran that pipe, you know? And Daniel's like a first year, and he's like, that's the only way I knew how to run it, you know? And they're like, we got to get that redone, man. Hopefully nobody sees that, you know? And I just told him, I was like, you know what? Just try to do the best you can. Just try to move up. Just try to, you know, keep improving, you know, and just don't let those guys, you know, get you down and stuff. And now he realizes, you know, being a journeyman, congratulations on your journeyman, Daniel, that it's awesome to be like a knowledgeable professional out in the field, and you know, to kind of bring these guys to the house every week with your knowledge, and just, you know what, this is the way I'm going to do it. Like, you're a solid member of any team that you're on, and that's what it's all about, and that's what I wanted to teach you, and means a lot that that's how you turned out, and that's how you do it. And like I say, you know, like, do not lend your neighbor your vacuum cleaner over there, because I know that guy. I don't know. I think he'll mess it up, dude. I don't know, but I'm just guessing. He might go all army on it, you know. So I don't know. I'm not saying which neighbor, but I'm just saying maybe one of your neighbors might not want to lend your vacuum cleaner. So I'm not supposed to know what his neighbor is, but like his neighbor used to be my old boss. So.
Oh, are you talking about me? Oh,
okay. Yeah. Just don't lend your neighbor your vacuum cleaner. He might mess it up and then be like, "Hey, you want to come to work for me?"
Yeah, he keeps trying to get me to go to his company, and I'm like, well, you guys, I don't think you guys are very organized over there. You know, I'd just be dealing with bullshit all day, and I don't know. It just seems like there's just a lack of good help anywhere you go anymore. I mean, it's hard. We're having a hard time getting people into the trade, and the people that we are getting, I'm noticing there's a lot of like not paying attention, a lot of arguing. Attitudes aren't that great, you know, and Every now and then you get a good one that wants to learn, and what I found is that usually they're younger dudes. Like I've worked with guys that work part-time and are still in high school, and they're real hungry to learn. But I mean, there's other guys that they don't care, man. They're just there, you know.
Like Daniel has some funny stories. Like there was this one where they had to move this lift, and so then they're like got the temp guy. And they're like, hey, man, we need to get this lift out of here, you know? And he's like, hey, man, hurry up. And the guy, like, goes, and he doesn't realize that on the snorkel lifts that it reverses you around. So, like, you have to push back to go forward, and you have to push forward to go back, you know? And he just got on there, turned it on, and it just went blam right through the wall.
Damn.
I remember it like it was yesterday. He gets in it, and it's facing this way. He's like, all right, guys, I'm going to move it forward. And he goes... and it backs up through the finished wall, destroys the finished wall, and the GC comes in, and you can hear him screaming and kicks this guy off. And then the foreman's like, no, I need that guy here. He's really important to my job. And they got him back the next day. But
It's so funny, though.
Went through that wall like the Kool-Aid man, dude, just fucking blew it up.
It's so funny, like, and Daniel knows me. I'm always like, a lot of the guys used to call me War Story because I'd always like just tell all these war stories all the time. But it's just so funny, like to me, it just cracks me up. Like one time we had this general contractor. He's like, hey, I'm gonna burn a little bit of the trash off the roll off, you know. And so I'm sitting there thinking in my head, like, he's going to take the trash and, like, put it in a barrel and, like, burn it or whatever, you know? And then all of a sudden my apprentice is like, dude, there's, like, flames higher in the building out there. I was like, what? You know? Like, dude, he literally just torched the freaking thing. And then all the freaking fire department's like, what were you doing? Like, what were you thinking? And he's like, well, you know, I open burn a lot. And, you know, it just thought maybe I could just burn a little bit off the top and it would just go out or whatever, you know? And I was like, so you're telling me you accidentally caused a dumpster fire on purpose? You know, and it was just funny. My apprentice was like out there laughing. Eric's out there laughing. Next thing you know, the GC's like, I want that guy off my job, that guy off my job, you know. And it was just like, dude, what? You messed up, bro. You know what I mean? It was so funny. And we were all just laughing. And then he would go, oh man, the idiot painter's not here again. You know, and then I'd be like, oh, hey, bro, there's the idiot painter, you know. And he'd be like, oh, he called me that, did he? And I was like, yeah, he just called you that like 20 minutes ago, you know. Like, Daniel knows about throwing people under the bus, you know. He's like, oh, you want to throw me?
You could always electrify the job site fence, too, by running one of the phases on a 3-phase to the fence, you know. Taking it to the ground.
Ooh, that was an ugly one too, James. Yeah, I think I talked to James about this one. I've actually saved a bunch of people like that called me and asked me about it because they have these meters and they get shipped out single phase, you know, and they get shipped out wired single phase, but they could be single phase or 3-phase. And these guys just wired up 480 volt 3-phase to a single phase meter. And then they're like, man, we're getting all these weird voltage readings to ground and stuff, you know. And so one of the guys at one of the project managers like, oh, just hook it to the fence. And that'll reduce the impedance or whatever, you know. And they're like, oh, all right. So then I don't even know how the utility even set the meter to do this, whatever. But they hooked it to the fence and GC's coming over there. Grabs this freaking pole, grabs that, boom, gets blown up. 277, B phase was grounded, and it was 277, and so we always joke around. We're like, don't make a 277 volt electric fence. That is ungood, you know. But it literally happened. Like the general contractor got blown up that day, and it never would have happened if they wouldn't have grounded that fence. The one side of the fence. Yeah. Because once they grounded one side of the fence, it sent B phase to ground, and then he had 277 on B phase over here, and he had grounded side over here on the gate. when he went and touched it, and yeah, it was ungood. So
But
do
no,
not
I
make
really
277.
enjoy this show, man. It's really informative, and tune in every week, learning something new. Well,
Thank
not
you.
something new, but refreshing. And
Yeah.
I need to get into the code book a little more. Just end of the day, you get tired, and other things come up, and that code book kind of takes a back seat.
Yeah, and I
I
always
need
tried
to
to like. There was times where you came to me and you're like, hey, this guy says this, and I'm like, what? I was like, all right. So then I'd go do a post, and then Daniel, he's like, we're at the meeting in the morning. He's like, dude, you got 600 comments on that? And then I was like, oh yeah, dude. I was like, I get more than that. I was like, watch, I'll tell him you bent this pipe over here.
You get
We had these
guys in those comments, man. They get so angry over dumb shit, like just stupid, man. Like, why can't we just like say, okay, I don't agree with that, but here's what I think. Instead, they just jump to, oh no, you can't do that. No, that kind of shit. Like,
so we had these prefab buildings come in like gas and oil, and Daniel asked me, dude, why'd they bend that 90 like that? It was stupid. It was like so weird. It was like if I was building a prefab building, you just go over here, you just 90 up, and you come out the building, whatever. But they had this one where it's like back-to-back 90s that like came out of the wall. Like it was almost like they were supposed to have a shelf there or something, and they just like bent around it. And I was like, watch this, dude. And I went and I took a picture of it, and I was like, hey, just taught my first year how to... You were actually a second year at that point in time. But I was like, hey, I just taught my second year how to bend pipe, man. How do you do, Oh, man, he was like, what the hell? He said there, look at the comments. He's like, dude, they actually thought I bent that pipe. You know what I mean? Like, it was literally like gospel that he bent all that pipe in that building, And it came from... It was funny because it was actually pre-manufactured in Arvada, which is my hometown, But everyone's like, oh, that came from Mexico. And like, you're like, what? It's just so funny. Like, everyone just assuming all this stuff, not knowing anything. And then they're all just like, oh, no, there's a shelf that goes there. And they're like, oh, okay, that's cool then. It was
I always like to send Bill pictures. I text him pictures of my installs and stuff that I do at work, like some of the panel installs I do. And, he'll give me some feedback on it. Usually I do a good job most of the time. Maybe I'll miss some here and there, but
it was a lot of fun. It was always a lot of fun working with you. And like right when Daniel just got his journeyman's license, they were working on some stuff, and he's like, yeah, I got to bring these 1-inch conduits into this equipment, And I'm like, well, just freaking turn 90s on it, turn it down, And he's like, oh, nah. He goes, what's the problem is that the drywall is going to be there, and the radius, you're going to see the radius coming through the drywall, And I was like, oh, wow. I didn't even think about that, I was like, well, it's their design, but the whole thing was the ceiling got shrunk or whatever, so you actually had to kind of like offset up and then bring the 90 down. And when that was all said and done, Daniel, that actually looked tits. Like after the drywall was in and everything, it looked legit. Like that was the way to do it. So,
Well, you are right.
That kind of stuff.
Go ahead.
It's just like you can learn from anybody. You know what I mean? Like I don't know everything. Daniel doesn't know everything. King James doesn't know everything. And we all need to like listen to each other. Yeah, you don't know about ice cream and alleys in Edmonton. I can tell you that much.
There's a lot of second-year apprentices I try to work with.
Right.
I wish I would.
Hey, so we gonna do. Hey, you're welcome to hang out, Cesar. We're gonna do our wall of shame.
Yeah,
I'll stay on here.
let's cue it up.
All right. See you all.
Shame. 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 Shame.
so I don't even know what the picture is this week. James probably picked it, or it might be
I
mine.
did. I was like, he didn't send one, so I'll go ahead and find one. So I think you'll like this one this week. It's funny too.
Oh, the old tape splice. Oh, these zip tie splice.
That's got to be a code violation.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, all
Yeah.
right, I got to post that one.
Somebody's-
Man, that one's pretty bad.
What are the chances?
I mean, at least it's the heavy-duty zip ties.
Oh, yeah.
You think those hold up better than a Wago? I don't know.
Oy. That would be a good one, like the new Wago.
I was just
Oh,
going
man.
through some, and I was like, that's sort of funny. I got to post that one.
I mean, they didn't even use the tree as support.
No.
It's just hanging there.
Now imagine if they used copper instead. Oh, I do not want to know what would happen to them if they decided to use copper.
There's a
Yeah,
dad,
100%.
I showed it to Dad, and he goes, that's
Yeah.
how far the trade has fallen.
Man, they didn't even clip the zip tie all the way direct.
That's right.
Mm.
So Daniel knows, like, we did this out in, like, Gas and Oil where, and I think Daniel first learned this when we were out there, where I was like, you don't even have to cut them. You just take your linemen and just twist them off, and then they just go flush, and, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that, and I just couldn't let it go. I was like, I got
Hey,
to post
so-
that one.
So, question for you, Cesar. What do you do for a living? What's your...
Well, right now I'm pursuing a degree in electrical engineering.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
First,
that's awesome.
yeah, I'm in this college named Victoria College, which is in Victoria, Texas, and anytime now I could transfer either to UT Austin, or they really love people who transfer to A&M Kingsville, so that could be another option.
UT
Awesome.
Austin. UT
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah.
Be a Longhorn. You'll never regret it.
There you go. Gotta do a hook 'em horns. Hook 'em horns in the chat, everyone. Yeah, like, so that's really awesome that you came and joined with us, Cesar. Really great meeting you. Really appreciate you jumping in, and really appreciate your insight. It was really good times. Like I say, I think you actually beat King James tonight, so I think you're gonna, go down to history as actually beating the legend King James.
Oh, wow. Don't worry. Adam and I will still consider him King James in our books.
I can't
You gotta
believe
make
a
I only
trophy.
got 3 of 5. That sucks.
Oh, dude, you'd have to put it on your resume for sure, 100%. Like, dude, Daniel already has it on his resume. He actually had me send it out in a gold leaf paper, like how many times he beat King James, so.
Well, I've got my
just let me know.
podcast on how it's rigged, and it's
Oh, yeah.
rigged against me.
So I don't know if you know this, Cesar, but there's actually people out there that made podcasts on how much I'm a cancer to the industry and all this stuff, and it's like, what? Like, I was just like, but then Daniel taught me this really cool trick. All you do is just take their podcast, just put circus music on it, and then reproduce it, and then it goes do 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 do, and then it's fixed. You know what I mean? So then, like, dude, I really appreciate all your moves, Daniel. Thanks for teaching me all your sweet moves.
Yeah, we're
Like,
just yeah.
He actually had it on his phone. Like, anytime they called like the company clowns, he just go do 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 do.
Well, what
And then
happened
next thing
was
you know-
we were on a really bad job, and it was going south, and the general contractor was saying we were clowns. He was telling other people we were clowns, and so we would play clown music like on our phones every now and then and go to work because we're clowns. We were clowns apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be like, what's it called? The Benny Hill theme song?
Yeah, that one too. I should have that one. Should have that one on my phone on speed dial, just in case.
Oh, yeah. That's
Well,
me.
Daniel, all you need to do is just get on uh, uh, NEC for Dummies on Facebook and just disagree with ECD boys, and you'll be called more than just a clown. I've been called everything under the book.
Like,
dude, he was cracking up about Weed Man on the debate. Like, he was like, dude, that guy's really angry.
Oh, every one of them guys are. I mean, some of the stuff that they call people, just not. I mean, anybody disagrees with them, they call them names. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I finally, I tried to be nice about everything. I finally just got to where you're nothing but an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. You can't even be nice to those guys. You just got to talk back to them the way they talk to you. And then they get mad at you for doing it. But it's okay for them to do it. Unbelievable.
Well, and Daniel saw firsthand how I dealt with some of them, and it was kind of hilarious because I'd be like, well, you know what? You have a good point, da-da-da-da-da. The next thing you know, I go get my alternate character, and then I come in like, what are you talking about? That's totally wrong, And then I'd be like, and then I just like tell the other alternate character that came in, dude, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And then these guys are like all confused because they're like, what? Like, this guy agrees with me, but then he's like arguing with himself, and like they're all like, oh, this guy's got mental conditions. So then now that was the whole thing, like, oh, this dude's got mental conditions. That's what it is. It's not that we're stupid or we're wrong. It's this guy's mental, And it was so hilarious to have that alternate thing that was like, it's just so hilarious. But I always do the pickle shot for Adam. I miss Adam. Adam should have been here, but it's pickle shot night every night after the quiz. So appreciate you, Adam, for doing the pickle shot. And yeah, it's like, dude, Adam does it great. He's like,
oh yeah, Adam has a pickle jar every single day.
Yeah, so that's why I started doing pickle shot night. But pickle shot for Adam.
On Adam's channel, there's a person named, their username is Pickles. They joined, and then Adam is like reaching out for the pickle jar, and he's like grabbing a pickle, and then he's putting it in his mouth and eating it. Or he'll sometimes drink the pickle juice. By the way, that person named Pickles, that's actually their dog's name. And their dog is in this contest. And I'm not sure if they're still voting, but I hope that they win.
Nice. All right.
All the way from...
Well, now, I really appreciate you joining, Daniel. Dude, it's so awesome. You can join us every week, Daniel. It's so awesome. It means a lot to me to show straight up like the product of hard work, knowledgeable installs, clean installs, like not just hacking stuff together. Like, dude, he's talking about some of these guys like, oh yeah, they told me to take a Sawzall and just screw it together with sheet metal screws, And it's like, dude, like, why not just do it right, dude? Like, why are you putting this on yourself to make right? This is on the customer to make their stuff right, because it ends up coming back and then you have to go redo it anyway. So that kind of stuff is what I preach to Daniel every day when we were working out in the field. And he saw firsthand how I took on the inspector. I took on the, I don't know if you just don't care, Daniel, or you just don't give a shit. But
Which one
it's one of the two. It's one of the two. And we're going to find out. And you're going to go to work today and you're going to give a fucking shit. But the thing is that, like, this is what these leaders are trying to do. They're trying to, just instill this, like job scaredness to people in the field. And it's almost better we just have this really knowledgeable approach and just, let's just do it right the first time. And it shouldn't be on the electrician to figure out. It should be on the customer or the general contractor. They love pushing it onto us, but if you push it back onto them and say, Cesar, you're going to be an electrical engineer, and you need to make sure that this is adequate installation, and that's your job is to make sure it's adequate installation. Now, if you make a mistake, then I go in and I say, hey, I think Cesar made a mistake, but I'm not saying he's an idiot or he's wrong or anything. I think he needs to double check his math. So that's what's so awesome about, you're going to totally back me up. You're going to totally back Daniel up. These are knowledgeable electricians that know what's going on, know the theory, and that's how it works. So,
yeah, you don't want to end up like Boeing.
Yeah. That's, dude, Daniel's a whistleblower. He's over there blowing the whistle. Like, dude, they didn't even attach half the wing.
I'll be back.
You're good, Cesar. But we really appreciate everyone joining every week. It means a lot. And I know King James probably has to roll. He's probably getting ready to head out. But, like I say, it means a lot just to have all these awesome people. And Daniel, thanks for such kind words. It means a lot. Like, it made it totally worthwhile for me to, go, like, put my neck out on the line with a lot of those guys. We're out on these plants, and when you're out in gas and oil, like, you're a true roughneck. I mean, you have to put your neck out on the line, and these guys are gonna yell at you. They're gonna call you stupid. And dude, remember Blama though? So Blama, it was so funny. So I don't know, like, they put Blama with me because they're like nobody wanted to work with Blama, but she was from Venezuela. And her freaking father was like actually wealthy in Venezuela, and he actually took every single penny that he had to get his daughter to America. And
really?
She was a temp worker for an electrical company, and so she comes in as a temp worker for an electrical company. This chick, she had no fear. She had no no filter. No, she did not care. She would offend anyone. Oh, dude, is Chris Heston in the house? Oh, dude, what's up, Chris Heston? Awesome. Thanks for joining. Yeah. So I taught her this thing, and Daniel will crack up when I tell her. I was like, hey, Blama, this guy, he messed up over here, and he only had one job to do. And he messed it up. And then she's like, yes, Bill, very, very correct. And so then she started going around to everybody on the whole entire plant. She's like, Golden, you have one job, Golden. You need to run project. You didn't run project right, Golden. And like, everyone's like, who taught her this? Like, she said they're going to like the owners of the company. Huh?
Or she would call Brad Pendejo.
Oh, yeah. And then she'd be like, Brad, your turn to clean. Brad, you clean. It's your turn, And she'd make sure she'd have like a chart list of everybody who has to clean. And Daniel clean. No, Bill, you clean. Daniel clean last week, It was so funny. And like, they hated it. Like, they just got so mad. They're like, no, it can't be equal like this at this company we're at, which I'm not going to mention any names, but like, nothing could be equal there. It had to be like, only the top people didn't have to do anything, and then the lower people had to like clean and do all that. But Blama, man. So like, it was crazy because we had like these gators out there. So we're driving around all these gators, everything. And everyone had to go get the key for the gator. And I'm like, I'm not going to try to get the key for the gator or whatever, like, that's like a stupid argument. Blama, she was there. Like, she'd be over there. She'd grab the key route, the key ring, jump in there. She didn't even have to inspect it, nothing. Like, she didn't have to do anything. Like, she'd be like, "Oh no, it's okay. I do it later, Golden." You know, and she'd just get in there, like start that baby. She cleaned up the whole entire plant. She went because I told her, I was like, "Blama, you know what makes me really mad? Because there's all this material just spread all over everywhere, and it's like nobody's keeping track of it, and like they're bitching that we don't have it, but it's just laying out there in the mud. There's nothing's on pallets." She went over there with that gator. She went around that whole entire plant. She got every material. She put it on pallets. She organized it. And then it was funny because the next day we come in and she's all, "I organized everything in the plant. And you guys need to listen," you know, whatever. And so in a true fashion of not listening, they're like, "All right, guys, we got a lot of material just out in the mud, just laying everywhere. It's not on pallets. It's all spread out." And she goes, "No. You listen to me. I put it on pallets. It's good," you know. It was just so funny because I was just like sitting there kind of, you know, like, yeah, I taught her everything I know, you know what I mean? But it was just funny how it was like she was already one step ahead of them. Like, that's all you have to do to be good out here is just organize better, you know. But Daniel knew that because they were getting it all out of the Connex and then just leaving it out in the mud. And it was... that job was horrible, man.
Having an organized site is pretty critical, man. I mean, when you spend almost half your day walking around looking for stuff, I mean, you're not going to be productive. You know?
True, 100%. Well, thanks so much, Cesar, for joining. Thanks so much, Daniel, for joining. I really appreciate. Thank you, King James, for putting the whole podcast together. And I really appreciate all the participation we have every week. It means a lot. Thanks, Chris Heston, for showing up last minute. You know, like I say, we got DJ Joe's D. Yeah, he's out, man. But yeah, thanks for jumping in, DJ Joe's D. That's so awesome. And like I say, you know, so many other people. David Englehart, Cameron. Mossy, thanks Mossy. Mossy had the diversion all night, man, dude. Randy, dude, we need you more often, Mossy. That's so awesome, man. Just come in here and run diversion on King James. We got Metro up in here. We got John Jansen up in here. That's freaking awesome, man. The whole entire team, SOS team, showed up tonight, and especially having Daniel J for the first time. You know, just to kind of, you know, take that victory from King James, like personally, you know, live, you know, that kind of means a lot too, you know, just to kind of come in there and just bam, you know, just get that little extra little hook 'em horns. He just hooked them horns, James. That's what he did. He just hooked them horns, baby. Yeah.
It's a hell of a thing to have on your resume.
Yeah. I'm telling you, dude, that podcast. That podcast is not going nowhere, Daniel. Your podcast, done. It's over. It's not rigged, man. It's not rigged. So.
I still got 3 of 5. That ain't too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go look at, like, the instant replay and actually see, like, who the actual winner is. I think Cesar might have got, like, Cesar? Well, you got one wrong, didn't you, Cesar?
Yeah, I think they tied.
I think
you got the ice cream one wrong.
Yeah, I got 1 or 2 wrong actually.
Yeah, you're welcome to come on, Cameron. Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. Yeah, dude, Rhino's welcome on. Everyone, I think we could have up to 10 guests on here, so that's cool. The more the merrier. But I really appreciate everyone joining. King James, thanks so much. Daniel J, appreciate you. 6-time champ, Daniel J, and Cameron, awesome. Thanks for joining. And remember, make every day an easy day.
Amen.
This is everyone.
Bye, guys.
All right. We'll see everybody next Thursday.
I'll see you
Nothing
then.
for this weekend.
Yeah.
Roll it out.
Yeah.
welcome, brother. Coming